Listen, I'm gonna tell you something right now. Fellas got a whole lot of ways they try to play cool, act tough, act like they don't care. But when a man is in love, he can't hide it. Oh, he gonna try, but it slips out. And the funny part is, it don't even come out in no grand poem, no Shakespeare speech. It comes out in the smallest words. The truth of a man's heart is tucked right in between sentences you don't even think twice about. But if he says this, oh, baby, he's in love. See, men ain't built to be extra flowery with words. Most of us don't sit around rehearsing no romantic monologue. We don't got no diary full of sweet quotes we practiced in the mirror. We say what's sitting heavy on the chest. So when a man lets his guard down and says, I got you, or don't worry, I'll handle it, that right there. That's not just conversation. That's commitment talk. That's him saying, without saying, I done made you part of my world, and then I ain't letting nothing come near you. And ladies, you gotta pay attention, because sometimes the deepest confessions don't sound like love songs. They sound like, did you eat? They sound like, text me when you get home safe. They sound like, take my jacket. Because here's the truth, when a man loves you, your comfort keeps him awake at night, your safety stays on his mind when you're not even around. That's how love leaks out of a man's mouth, through care, through protection, through those little sentences that say, I can't stand the thought of you not being okay. Now, don't get me wrong, every man can say sweet things when he want to impress. A man in the first 2 weeks of dating could hit you with, you're my queen, or I never met nobody like you. That's the audition. That's the R.A. Sume. But when months pass, when life get real, when bills come, when moods swing, when tired days hit, and he still leans over, looks you dead in your eyes and says, I ain't going nowhere. That ain't no performance, that's love talking. And see, you gotta know the difference between a man saying something to fill the silence and a man saying something that came from his soul. Because when a man is really in it, his words carry weight. He might not say, I love you 50 times a day, but when he looks at you and says, you're my home, or I can't see my future without you, he just told you everything you need to know. That's not flirting. That's foundation. And let me give you a little secret. Men don't just tell you they love you, they tell on themselves. You'll hear it in the way he talks about plans. When a man says, you better underline it. We're gonna take that trip. We're gonna move somewhere nice. One day, we're gonna be all right. See, that we ain't accidental. That why is him revealing that in his heart, you're already permanent. So if he says this, if he says, I'm proud of you, that's love too. Because understand something, men don't hand out pride like candy. If he looks at you and feels joy just because you're winning, because you're shining, because you're thriving, that man ain't just in like, he in love. Bottom line, ladies, love from a man don't always sound like a fairy tale. Sometimes it sounds simple, it sounds small, it sounds ordinary. But behind those ordinary words is an extraordinary truth. He done gave you his heart. And once a man truly gives it, oh, it's yours. I got you. Those 3 words don't look like much on paper. They don't sound like no grand declaration or no dramatic vow. But when a man says them, especially in the right moment, they carry a weight heavier than 1,000 I love yous. Because I got you is more than a phrase, it's a promise. It's the quiet language of a man who's decided that you're not out here in this world alone anymore. And I'm telling you right now, when a man means it, you'll feel it before you even understand it. Now let's break it down. When a man says, I got you, he's telling you he's not just there for the good times. Anybody can hold your hand when the music is playing, when the lights are bright, when everything feels easy. But when he says, I got you, he's saying he'll stand in front of you when the storm hits. He'll hold up the umbrella when the rain is falling hard. He'll look you in your tired eyes after the longest day of your life and let you know you don't have to carry it by yourself. That's what I got you really means. It means backup. It means covering. It means partnership. And ladies, you got to understand, men don't give out that kind of security lightly. Most men, especially ones who grew up being told they got to be strong, they got to hold all in. They don't let those words slip unless something deep in their heart done shifted. That phrase, I got you, it's a crack in the armor. It's the moment he stops thinking about just himself and starts thinking about you as part of him. And when a man sees you that way, his language changes. He ain't talking about what he can get out of the situation anymore. He's talking about what he can give. Think about it. When you're stressing over bills and you're sitting there counting pennies and wondering how to stretch the week, and he looks at you and says, don't worry, I got you. That's not just money talk. That's him putting your mind at ease. That's him stepping up and telling you, you ain't gonna have to suffer alone. or when you're walking somewhere and it's dark outside, and he positions himself between you and the street, and he says, I got you. That's his instinct showing up. He's declaring protection, even if he don't dress it up in pretty words. And let me tell you something else. I got you ain't always loud. Sometimes it shows up when you're sick and he's standing in the kitchen burning eggs, just trying to make sure you eat something. He might not say it with his mouth, but when you ask why he's doing all that, he shrugs and says, I got you. That's his way of telling you your pain bothers him, your hunger bothers him, your tiredness bothers him. He can't rest if you're not resting. Now here's the kicker. When a man says, I got you, he's putting his pride on the line too. Because for a man, stepping up and promising somebody else security is no small thing. It means he's tying his name, his energy, his resources, his reputation, his everything to your well-being. And men, whether they admit it or not, are very careful about who they give that to. He ain't out here saying, I got you, to just anybody, because if he fails, it eats at him. So if he looks you in the face and says those 3 words, trust me, he's already decided in his mind that your worth is everything. And the beauty of it is, I got you, grows over time. In the beginning, it might be little things, holding the door, checking if you made it home, throwing his jacket over your shoulders. But as the love deepens, so does the promise. Suddenly, it ain't just about small gestures, it's about life moves. He'll be thinking, how do I make sure she never feels like she's unsupported again? He starts planning without telling you. He starts fixing things before you even notice they're broken. That's love in action. And I got you is the verbal receipt for it. Now, I know sometimes women get caught up looking for the fancy words. Y'all like the big speeches, the poetry, the flowers, the over-the-top declarations. And that's beautiful. Don't get me wrong, every man should romance his woman. But if you hear, I got you, from a man who lives it, you better not dismiss it like it's small, because romance might light the fire, but security keeps it burning. Flowers fade, chocolates get eaten, but I got you shows up at 3 in the morning when the car won't start, when your heart is heavy, when your dreams feel too far away. That's when those words matter most. And let me flip it one more way. Sometimes I got you comes in arguments too. You might be heated, yelling, throwing everything on the table, and he'll look at you and just say it calm. I got you. Not to shut you down, not to silence you, but to remind you that no matter how much noise is in the air, the bond ain't breaking. That's a man telling you, even when I don't agree with you, I'm still with you. And that's real love, because love ain't tested when it's easy. It's tested when it's tough. So when you hear those 3 words, pay attention. Don't just listen to the sound, watch the consistency behind them. If his actions match his words, if he keeps showing up, if he keeps proving that your struggles are his struggles, your wins are his wins, your fears are his mission to ease, then baby, you don't need no dictionary to define it. Those 3 little words just told you everything you need to know about the condition of his heart. Did you eat? Now that right there might sound like the simplest question in the world. It don't sound romantic. It don't sound poetic. It don't sound like something you'd write on a card for Valentine's Day. But when a man asks you that, when he makes it a habit, when it comes out of his mouth naturally and often, you better believe it means something deeper. That is one of the clearest, most underrated signs that he is in love. Because what that question is really saying is, I care about you enough to think about what keeps you alive, what keeps you strong, what keeps you going. See, love don't always come dressed in roses and candlelight. Sometimes love shows up in the middle of the day when you're too busy to stop, and he checks in with a quick text. Did you eat? That's him paying attention, making sure you didn't forget about yourself. That's him putting your needs in his thoughts even while he's handling his own. And let's be honest, most men ain't out here thinking about nobody's meal schedule unless they deeply care. So when he starts noticing if you skip breakfast, when he calls you at lunch just to make sure you didn't push food to the side, that's love doing the talking. And it's bigger than food. Don't get it twisted. That little question, did you eat, is symbolic, because food represents care. Food represents health. Food represents energy. What he's really saying when he asks that is, are you okay? Did you take care of yourself? Did you remember you matter today? That's what a man in love is thinking about. Your well-being becomes a part of his responsibility. He can't relax if he thinks you're running on empty. Think about when you're stressed out. Some people lose their appetite when the weight of the world sits on them. A man who's just passing through your life won't notice, won't check in, won't push you to eat something. But a man in love, he gonna keep on you, he'll bug you about it. Come on, baby, at least grab something. He'll pull up with takeout. He'll bring you your favorite snack. He'll stand in the kitchen and mess up a recipe just trying to make sure you got food in front of you. And when you laugh at how bad the meal looks, he'll still shrug and say, I just wanted to make sure you ate. That's not about cooking. That's about care. That's about a man who can't sit still if you're not taken care of. And ladies, let's be real. You know how powerful it feels when someone notices the little big gestures are nice, but little daily checks, those build trust, those show consistency. When a man repeatedly asks, did you eat? He's training your spirit to know that you're not invisible, that someone sees you, that someone wants to make sure you're functioning. That's love in the quiet form, and it's just as valuable, sometimes even more. Because think about it, when a man is in love, his mind doesn't shut off about you. He's not just wondering where you at, he's wondering how you're doing. He's not just interested in your beauty, he's invested in your health. That's a whole different level. It's easy to compliment you on your looks. It's easy to say, you're gorgeous or you're sexy. But to check if you ate, that's about survival. That's about making sure you're strong enough to keep shining, to keep standing, to keep being yourself. That is real love showing up through responsibility. And here's the thing, men don't even realize sometimes how powerful that question is. He might throw it out casually like it ain't a big deal, but to the woman on the receiving end, it can hit different. Because it feels like somebody sees past the surface. It feels like somebody is paying attention. And most importantly, it feels like somebody cares about the everyday parts of you, not just the glamorous ones. Love isn't just about celebrating you at your highest. It's about protecting you in your everyday. That little question is proof of that. Now, some of y'all might brush it off like, oh, that's nothing. That's just him being nice. But no, it's not just nice. Because plenty of men will say sweet things to impress you. Plenty of men will talk smooth when they want something. But a man who checks your stomach before he checks your selfies, that's a man who's thinking with his heart. That's not game, that's genuine concern. And watch how consistent it is. A man who loves you don't just ask it once, it becomes part of his rhythm, morning, noon, night. Whenever he knows you've been working hard or running around, he'll slip it in there. He'll notice patterns, like if you're the type to forget lunch when you're busy, he'll be on you about it. If he knows you like coffee but skip breakfast, he'll throw in, coffee's not a meal, did you eat? That means he's studying you. He's paying attention to your habits, your weaknesses, your blind spots, and trying to cover them. And let's talk about sacrifice. A man who truly loves you doesn't just ask, did you eat? And leave it at that. He'll follow up. He'll make sure food gets in your hands. He'll share his plate if that's all he got. He'll go out of his way, maybe even when his own schedule is crazy, to provide. Because love isn't just words, it's action. And that little question opens the door for a whole lot of action. And another thing, sometimes when he asks, did you eat? What he's really trying to say is, I wish I was there with you. Because food is social. Food is connection. Food is intimacy. Sharing a meal is one of the most basic ways people bond. So when he asks, he's not only checking your health, he's also showing you he wants to be part of your day. Even in something small, he wants to sit across from you, watch you laugh between bites, be part of the ordinary moments. That's love looking for closeness, not just romance. So don't overlook that little question. It's small, it's quiet, it's ordinary, but it holds more weight than you realize. A man in love may not always know how to string a paragraph of feelings together, but when he checks on your basic needs, when he makes sure you ate, when he ties his care to your survival, he's telling you in the plainest way possible that your life matters to him. And when your life matters to somebody at that level, you don't have to wonder where his heart is. Text me when you get home safe. Now that right there sounds simple, almost like common courtesy, but it's not. When a man says that and means it, when he makes it a regular thing, that's not politeness. That's love showing its face in everyday words. Because what he's really saying underneath it is, I need to know you're all right. I can't rest until I know you made it safe. That's not a casual request. That's his heart talking, and when a man's heart starts talking, you better pay attention. See, men are wired to protect what they love. It's built in. And when a man asks you to let him know you made it home safe, he's admitting that your safety affects him personally. He could be sitting on his couch, watching a game, hanging out with his boys, but if he knows you're out late, driving through dark streets or just moving from point A to point B, he can't fully relax. Something in him stays alert. And that one little line, text me when you get home safe, is his way of making sure he can breathe easy again once he knows you're okay. And it's not just about the ride home. It's about the mindset behind it. A man who doesn't care won't notice when you leave. He won't be thinking about where you're at or how long it takes you to get back. But a man in love, he's tracking time in his head. He knows how far your drive is. He knows what route you normally take. He even notices when you're out later than usual. And that's not him trying to control you. That's him trying to protect you in the only way he can when he's not physically there. His peace of mind depends on your safety. That's love right there. Now some women laugh it off like, oh, he's just being sweet. But no, it goes deeper. Because think about it. How many people in your life actually wait for that message? Not everybody does. Your coworkers don't. Strangers don't. A man who's really invested in you, though, will sit there refreshing his phone, looking at the time, waiting on that text like it's the most important thing in the world. Because to him it is. He doesn't care if it's just 2 words, I'm home. That little update is his permission slip to let go of worry. And watch how it changes over time. In the beginning, it might sound casual, like he's just being polite. But as the bond deepens, it becomes almost automatic. He doesn't even think about it anymore. It just comes out of his mouth. Because love builds habits. And when a man gets used to caring for you, he doesn't stop. That text me when you get home safe is his way of staying connected even when you're apart. It's him bridging the gap between your world and his, making sure you feel covered even from a distance. Here's something else that line also shows trust. He's not saying, call me every step of the way, or tell me where you're at right now. He's not tracking you like property. He's saying, move freely, do what you gotta do, but just let me know you're safe at the end of it. That's love balanced with respect. That's a man who wants to protect you without caging you. That's the kind of love that feels safe without feeling smothered. And let's be real, sometimes women underestimate how much space they take up in a man's heart when he's truly in love. That little question proves it. He's not just concerned about the big milestones, birthdays, anniversaries, promotions. He's concerned about the everyday, the ordinary, the drive home after dinner with your friends. That means you are not just somebody he celebrates when it's convenient. You're somebody he worries about even when nothing's happening. That's how you know it's real. And you can see the difference between a man who says it out of habit and a man who says it from love. The one who's just being polite won't notice if you forget. The one who loves you will hit you up if the text don't come through. He'll be like, hey, you good? You home yet? Because it's not just words for him, it's genuine concern. He can't shut his eyes until he knows you're safe. That's when you know it's deeper than talk. Sometimes that concern even makes him over-prepare. If he knows you're leaving late, he might offer to come pick you up. If he knows the weather's bad, he might call instead of text just to hear your voice. He might even wait up for you if you're supposed to come over. All of that is an extension of that one little request, because love doesn't just stop at asking, it acts, it adjusts, it sacrifices. And you know what else? When a man asks you to text him when you get home, he's also telling you something about himself. He's telling you that your safety equals his peace. He's telling you that your presence in his life means he's got something to lose now, something to protect. Before you, maybe he didn't care about risk. Maybe he didn't think twice about danger. But once you're in his heart, your well-being becomes his priority. That's not just a question. That's a reflection of how love reshapes a man's mindset. Now picture this. It's late, you're tired, you finally get home and send that little text. You might not even think much of it, but on his end, he exhales, he smiles, he sets his phone down and finally relaxes. That's love in action. He didn't need a long conversation. He didn't need you to write him a novel. Just knowing you're safe is enough for him to rest easy. That's how powerful that one little request is. So don't ever dismiss it when a man asks, text me when you get home safe. Don't roll your eyes like it's nothing. Because what he's really saying is, you matter to me more than you realize. Your safety is tied to my peace. I can't let this world move without making sure you're okay. That's not casual. That's not empty. That's a man in love letting you know, in the simplest words possible, that your life is precious to him. I ain't going nowhere. When a man says that and you can feel the conviction behind it, that's when you know he's not just playing around. He's not just passing time. He's in love. Because let's be real, people come and go all the time. Folks walk in and out of your life, talk a good game, promise forever, and then vanish when things get hard. But when a man looks at you, especially in the middle of a storm, and says, I ain't going nowhere, that's not just a phrase. That's a vow. That's him telling you he's built for the long haul, that he's choosing you not just for today, but for every day after. See, love isn't tested on the easy days. Anybody can be there when the sun's shining and everything feels good. But real love shows itself when the rain falls, when bills are late, when tempers flare, when moods swing. That's when you find out who's really down for you. And a man who says, I ain't going nowhere. In those moments, that's a man who's showing you loyalty in its purest form. He's saying, I signed up for all of it, your highs, your lows, your beauty, your flaws, your victories, your struggles, and I'm still standing right here. And you know what's special about that? Men don't say those words lightly. Men pride themselves on their freedom, their independence, their ability to walk away from things that don't serve them. So when a man declares, I ain't going nowhere, he's laying down that pride. He's surrendering that exit door. He's making you his choice. His anchor, his place to plant his feet. That's not weakness. That's love choosing permanence. Now think about this. When he says those words, it's not just for your reassurance, it's for his own soul too. Because a man in love knows he's found something rare, something he can't replace. And he doesn't want you to spend a single second doubting where he stands. He knows this world is full of uncertainty, full of people switching up, full of hearts that come and go. So when he says, I ain't going nowhere, he's putting a stake in the ground. He's saying, this is my spot. This is my person. This is where I belong. And you'll notice, it usually comes out when things aren't perfect. Maybe you're frustrated. Maybe you're feeling insecure. Maybe you're worried he might leave like others have. And in that moment, instead of running from the tension, he leans in and says it. I ain't going nowhere. That's not him brushing off the problem. That's him solidifying his commitment. He's letting you know arguments don't scare him off. Disagreements don't make him pack his bags. Challenges don't make him look for the door. That's love with roots, not wings. But don't get it twisted. It's not just words. Those words have to line up with action, and when a man's really in love, they do. He proves it over and over. He stays consistent. He shows up even when it's inconvenient. He stands beside you even when the situation makes it easier to walk away. And the more he proves it, the more powerful those words become. Because eventually you stop hearing them as just a promise. You start feeling them as a truth. And here's another thing. When a man says, I ain't going nowhere, he's not just talking about physical presence. He's talking about emotional presence too. He's saying, I'll stay with you mentally, I'll stay with you spiritually, I'll stay with you through changes, through growth, through the things life throws at us. Love is not just about being in the same space. It's about holding space. It's about refusing to detach when things get uncomfortable. It's about still choosing the connection when the feeling isn't as shiny as it was in the beginning. That's what he means when he says it. Sometimes those words are exactly what a woman needs to hear, because life will make you doubt. Your past will make you doubt. Previous heartbreaks will make you question whether love can last. But when the right man says, I ain't going nowhere, and he backs it up with consistency, it starts to heal that doubt. It starts to give you a sense of safety you maybe never had before. That's one of the gifts of true love. It makes you feel secure in ways words alone can't. And it's worth pointing out, those words aren't always loud. Sometimes they come out quiet, almost whispered, but backed by years of proof. Sometimes they don't even come out as a sentence. They come out in the way he shows up again and again, even when you thought he might not. The way he holds you through tears, the way he stays calm when you're spinning out, the way he's still there in the morning after a long night of arguing. All of that is his way of saying, I ain't going nowhere, without moving his lips. Now, of course, not every man can live up to those words. But when the right one says it, when a man in love says it, it's different. You can feel the depth. You can sense that it's not a line, it's not a performance, it's not something he rehearsed. It's coming from a place inside him that's already made the decision. His heart has settled. His mind is made up. He's planted his roots. That's why those words carry so much power. They may sound plain to some, but to the one receiving them, especially when they're backed up with action, they feel like home. They feel like stability. They feel like an anchor in a world that's constantly shifting. And when a man in love says, I ain't going nowhere, you can believe it, because that's not just him talking about his feet. That's him talking about his heart. Boy. That tiny little word don't look like much at first glance, but when a man starts using it consistently, when it slips out of his mouth naturally instead of me or I, you can bet that's a man who's in love, because men are naturally wired to think about themselves, their goals, their moves, their independence. But the moment a man falls deeply for someone, his language shifts. Suddenly, he can't separate his life from yours. Suddenly, everything that once sounded like a solo plan becomes a duet. That's the power of we. Think about how automatic I is in most conversations. I want to do this. I'm going to get that. I'll figure it out. But when he loves you, it starts turning into we, without him even realizing it. We should take that trip. We're going to move into a bigger place. We'll figure it out. That's not just a slip of the tongue. That's his subconscious revealing that you've been added to the blueprint of his future. He's not just living for himself anymore. He's building with you in mind. And let me tell you something, men, don't just hand out wit to everybody. You might date a man casually and never hear that word come up. He'll keep everything separate, his plans, his money, his time. That's because in his mind, you're not permanent. You're not stitched into the fabric of his vision. But the moment you hear him start speaking in we, that's the evidence. That's him letting you into his plans, his dreams, his commitments. And once a man starts using, it means he already sees you as part of his future, even if he hasn't said it outright. Now, what? Doesn't just show up in big conversations about marriage or houses or kids. It shows up in the small everyday talk too. Well, cook tonight. We should binge that show. We need to go grocery shopping. Those might sound like little things, but those are signs that he's no longer thinking of his life in separation from you. It's not two worlds loosely tied together. It's one shared space, one shared rhythm. Love makes a man start weaving you into the daily fabric of his life. And here's the deeper layer. Where is about accountability too. When a man says, he's telling you he's not in this for convenience, he's in this for partnership, because it means if something goes wrong, he's standing in it with you. If something goes right, he's celebrating it with you. He's not just watching your struggles from the outside. He's saying, this is our struggle. He's not just applauding your wins from the sidelines. He's saying, this is our victory. That's love moving from individual to collective. And women notice this shift right away. It's not that you're waiting on him to validate your place, but when he starts saying we, it reassures you that he's serious, because a man who isn't serious won't risk that language. He'll keep things vague. He'll talk about me and I so that he doesn't give you the wrong idea. But a man in love, he doesn't care if you catch the idea, because that's exactly what he wants, you to know that he sees you as part of his tomorrow. Now let's talk about how wet feels during tough times. Imagine you're going through something heavy, maybe financial stress, maybe family issues, maybe self-doubt. If you're with someone who's not invested, he'll listen, maybe sympathize, but his words will sound like separation. That's tough. I hope you figure it out. But a man in love, his words will carry unity. We'll get through this. We'll figure out a solution. He places himself in the battle with you. And when you hear that, it changes the whole weight of the struggle, because suddenly you know you're not standing alone. And here's another side of it. We also reveals ownership of the relationship itself. When he says we, he's telling other people indirectly, this is my person, this is my partner, this is who I'm building with. It's a public claim without having to make a big speech. When he introduces plans with we, it's his way of declaring you're not just temporary, you're integral. And men are cautious about who they publicly tie themselves to. If he's saying it often, he's already claimed you in his heart. But don't miss this. We also represents vulnerability, because for a man to use, he has to let go of some control. He has to admit that his decisions aren't just about him anymore, that his path now involves consideration for someone else. That's not always easy for men, especially ones who've spent their lives being told they have to be independent. They have to be the lone wolf. So when he starts saying we, that's him dropping his guard. That's him sharing the load. That's him trusting you enough to merge his life with yours. That's love in its purest form. Sometimes where even slips out in ways he doesn't plan. He'll be talking about years down the road, and suddenly we'll probably have a house by then. He might not even catch himself, but you will. And that slip is priceless, because it tells you his heart has already built you into his future. Even if his mind hasn't mapped out the details yet, love writes you into the script without him even realizing it. And don't underestimate the power of hearing it over and over. The more he says we, the more secure you feel, the more stable the relationship becomes. It becomes part of your identity as a couple. It shapes how you see yourselves, how you face challenges, how you dream. Love isn't just a feeling, it's a constant reinforcement of togetherness. And that one little word carries that togetherness every single time it's spoken. So when a man starts saying we, don't take it lightly. Don't brush it off like it's just a word. It's not just vocabulary, it's transformation. It's a sign that he's not only in love, but committed, invested, planning, protecting. and building. That's when you know it's not just a fling, it's not just temporary, it's real. Because we is the language of permanence, the language of love that has already decided you're part of the journey. I'm proud of you. Those 4 words can carry more weight than any sweet compliment a man could ever give. When a man looks you in the eye and says that, when his voice carries that deep sincerity, that's when you know love is speaking. Because men don't hand out pride easily. Most men are raised to measure pride by achievement, by victory, by something earned. They don't say it just to fill silence. So when a man in love says, I'm proud of you, it's not casual. It's not routine. It's the purest reflection of admiration and love wrapped together. Think about how rare that statement is. Plenty of men can tell you you're beautiful. Plenty of men can tell you you're sexy, you're fine, you look good tonight. Those are surface level words, and while they might make you smile, they don't always tell you what's in his soul. But when a man pauses and says he's proud of you, that means he sees your effort, your growth, your struggle, your grind. He's not just looking at you for what you look like, he's watching who you are becoming. And when a man starts tying his pride to your progress, that's love in its rawest form. See, I'm proud of you isn't really about him noticing something obvious. It's about him paying attention to the small things, the hard things, the behind, the scenes battles that nobody else claps for. Maybe you got out of bed on a day when the weight of the world told you not to. Maybe you chased a dream when you were scared. Maybe you worked overtime just to make ends meet. A man who loves you will see that and he'll honor it. I'm proud of you is his way of saying, I see how hard you push even when nobody else does. That's how you know his love is real, because he's looking past the surface and celebrating the heart of you. And here's what makes it powerful. Men don't risk those words unless they feel deeply connected, because I'm proud of you is vulnerable for a man to say. It means he's admitting that your success matters to him, that your joy is tied to his joy. When you win, he feels like he wins. When you climb, he feels like he climbs. That's not something a man gives to just anybody. That's reserved for the woman who holds his heart. Now imagine this. Maybe you've had a long week. Everything went wrong. You're sitting there doubting yourself, and he comes over, sits down, looks at you and says, I'm proud of you. That right there, that's medicine. That's healing. Because it tells you that even when you feel like you're failing, somebody sees you as a fighter. That's love speaking life into your spirit when the world tries to drain it. And you'll notice when a man in love says it, it's not just about big milestones. Sure, he'll say it when you land a job, when you graduate, when you hit a major goal. But he'll also say it when you cook your first dish and nail it. He'll say it when you stand up for yourself in a tough conversation. He'll say it when you push through fear and try something new. That's because his pride isn't just in your accomplishments. It's in your courage, your resilience, your character. He's not just watching what you do. He's cherishing who you are. And let's be honest, hearing I'm proud of you from the man you love hits different than hearing it from anybody else. Because when he says it, it's layered with intimacy. It's layered with history, with everything he knows about your journey. He's seen the late nights, the doubts, the tears you didn't want anyone to see. So when those words leave his mouth, they carry all that knowledge. They feel earned. They feel real. They feel like they're coming from someone who's been in the trenches with you, not just someone clapping from the stands. And ladies, understand this. Sometimes I'm proud of you is a man's way of saying, I love watching you. Men don't always have the emotional vocabulary to express every layer of their feelings. But when he says he's proud, he's telling you that your growth inspires him, that your light makes his life better, that your wins fill his chest with joy. That's love expressed in respect, admiration, and devotion all at once. It's also important to realize how different it feels from empty flattery. A man who's just trying to impress you will say, you're amazing or you're perfect. That's nice, but it's generic. A man in love will say, I'm proud of you for how you handled that, or I'm proud of the way you kept pushing. It'll be specific, tied to your real life struggles. And that specificity is the proof. Because real love notices details. Real love celebrates progress. Real love doesn't just love you for what you are. It loves you for how far you've come. And think about the confidence it gives you. When the man you love tells you he's proud, it builds something inside of you that no outside praise can touch. Because his words feel like a shield, like an anchor, like a reminder that you're not walking alone. It motivates you to keep going, to keep striving, to keep being your best self. That's the gift love brings. It doesn't just hold you, it pushes you higher. So when a man says, I'm proud of you, don't dismiss it. Don't brush it off like it's small. Recognize it for what it is, a declaration of love. A man may not always write poetry, may not always bring flowers, may not always speak with the fanciest words. But when he tells you he's proud, he's telling you that your life, your growth, your journey matters deeply to him. That's a kind of love you can trust because it doesn't just celebrate the finish line, it celebrates every step you take along the way.